Bandula Jayasekara Samaga.
And a very good morning to you. This is Newsline, live as always from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. Is sovereignty for sale in Sri Lanka? The recent emergence of agreements like AXA and SOFA has caused concern. We've got retired diplomat, broadcaster, and my friend Bandula Jayasekara with us on the program this morning to give us a bit of detail on this. He's right here in the studio with us, Bandula Jayasekara. Very good morning to you, Bandula.
Morning, Faraz.
Is sovereignty for sale in Sri
Definitely. I also made some notes last night, so let me first take our viewers through. Now, AXA, which is Acquisition and Cross-Servicing Agreement.
Right.
That has been signed, and we are in deep trouble. Let me explain what it's negotiated on a bilateral basis with the United States and allies or coalition partners that allow US forces to exchange most common types of support, including food, fuel, transportation, and ammunition and equipment. Right. So we are in deep trouble. It's already
so ammunition would come in here and then be transited through some US ship or
so it's already in operation. And I want to go a little bit deep into it and give a little bit of background. The former Defence Secretary during that time, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, it was a 7-page document for us, which they signed. Then the present government went into 83 pages.
But they didn't say that in Parliament.
Yeah, they didn't say. But what really happened was, the former Defence Secretary, Karunasena Hettiarachchi, who's our ambassador in Berlin now, he and President Sirasa was pressured into this, to sign that without going into detail, this 83 pages by the then Foreign Minister Mangala Samaraweera and then Foreign Secretary Prasad Karivasan, who is now advisor of sort in the Parliament, funded by the USAID. His salary is paid by the USAID. Sunday Times
by USAID?
USAID exposed this.
Why would our Parliament need a consultant paid by the Americans?
So this is the thing. They are also interfering there. And also I just want to give the background for us, for our viewers. So this was signed by the former Defence Secretary Kapila Vaidyaratne. This was signed because they were pressured by these people. So AXA, having signed AXA, also we are in trouble. Big trouble, because also what they did was, for even AXA for us, there was resistance by the defence chiefs, people at the defence ministry. So they went on to remove, this lady who is going as our ambassador to Singapore now, Sashikala Premadan, who was a former foreign ministry diplomat, who was at the defence ministry. So they expressed concerns. So, but they were removed and this was signed. So this is really what happened as far as AXA is concerned.
So as far as AXA is concerned and the agreement signed by the former Defence Secretary, Mr. Rajapaksa. Now, under that agreement, Bandula, it was like a transit of various equipment and services and also ammunition.
Yes, but I would say that is also wrong. We don't need these agreement. Do we need? Because
I was going to ask you, would they be subject to Sri Lanka security checks, like security forces checks or customs checks?
So those were the concerns raised. So do we need this? We don't need these things, because now that's why I said we are already in trouble with AXA. And then it has gone beyond. You and I haven't seen it. Have they submitted to the Parliament? Have we seen these 83 pages?
These 83 pages not been debated in Parliament, not been discussed in Parliament?
This is what even the Defence Secretary, the current Defence Secretary General Kottagoda, said, that it should be put to the Parliament. Now, we have been put in trouble by this. Now comes SOFA. SOFA, which is Status of Force Agreement. This is even more dangerous for us, because it says establish the framework under when US military personnel operate in a foreign country. Boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground. So that means American troops will be on Sri Lankan soil.
If we sign this, so this is the problem. It's not signed yet, but there's so much of pressure. And this is the battle
So this is the pressure that Karunasena Hettiarachchi has been speaking of.
Yeah, AXA and even for this.
Yeah.
So, but I could see there's so much of resistance, there's so many people are speaking. And now we want to raise the question, why do we need SOFA? Now the boots on the ground. Are we at war with any country? No.
Right.
We are not at war with any country. So we don't need any troops.
Yeah.
Right? And I'll just bring this. Then the government promised transparency for us.
Yeah.
Right? They never tabled this in parliament.
Right.
You and I have to question, why is the secrecy?
Indeed.
Yeah, for SOFA.
If it was security concerns, then what are they doing discussing security matters at the Parliamentary Select Committee then?
So this is a joke. So there is a bigger threat here.
Yeah.
Now let's see. I mean, the US Secretary of State Pompeo is not coming with a bag of goodies.
No, and he's not here just to come and have some hoppers.
Yes, definitely. So there is a complete betrayal
Yeah.
of this country by this. So I would not blame the US. See, those diplomats, they are doing their job.
Yeah. But
Our people-
is our diplomats doing their job?
Yeah, but there is another thing also, Faraz, I want to bring this. Why is the foreign minister, Marapana, negotiating it when it's a matter for the Minister for Defence, who is in charge of the subject? There are so many questions. It's a defence agreement.
Yeah.
They pressured Mangala and Prasad Karyavasam pressured, and Kapila Vaidyaratna later had to sign this. It started with Karunasena Hettiarachchi's time.
Yeah.
Then he was signed. So what's happening here? Why has Marapana given an undertaking? He went to Washington, he met John Bolton, he met Pompeo. What's happening? Who is directing this? So there are lots of questions, there are lots of secrecy for us.
How much of money is involved in between all this? Do we know?
Now they would say, US would say, okay, fine, we'll be given money for this.
Yeah.
But
is it substantial, big amount of
but
money?
then can we sell our country for
any
amount?
amount?
It's you are selling the country.
Yeah.
Like I said, the US diplomats, the US will do their job. We have to do our job. If you permit me, I remember meeting Mr. Jane Dixit once who, you remember him, he was called Viceroy and all that.
Yeah.
But he told me in India, he said, I have good Sinhala and Tamil friends.
Yeah.
I was demonized by Sri Lankan, but I did my job for my country.
Right.
So our people have to do the job for our country. That's not happening. So there are so many questions here for us.
And Bandula, what does this all mean? If we have the troops, will they just be able to come and go willy-nilly as they like?
Yes, no checks. They can bring telecommunication equipment. I think it's already happening. You can't check, you can't arrest them if they do anything wrong. A free thing. Why should we do that? Like, we are not at war with any country. We don't need this today.
But am I right in saying, Bandula, that the Americans have been after some form of AXA since 2002?
Yes, they will look after their interests.
Yeah.
Because this is the issue with China.
But
right?
in 2002, that was it was an abortive bid.
Abortive bid. And then I have heard, I don't know, even they have tried this with Maldives, and I'm told Maldives have said no to this.
Right.
But why should we become a playground for their battle against China?
That's what it is all about.
Yeah, I'll just read because I brought this because I was prepared for us because I'm doing this research, as you know. See, what we are saying is, it is important for Sri Lanka to consolidate the all-important relationship with everybody.
Right.
Right? Now this...
So our non-aligned status.
Yes, Indo-Pacific. See, because according to a former foreign secretary whom I spoke to, Sri Lanka is a much talked about location value of Sri Lanka. Right? So all these things, now you would have seen US admirals talking about the strategic importance. This is what is happening.
So Sri Lanka is all of a sudden very much in demand.
Yes. And let me also quote this former foreign secretary, he didn't want his name mentioned. He says, Sri Lanka's challenge is not to allow a military footprint and not get sucked into the looming strategic rivalry in the Indo-Pacific.
And what's the role of Japan in all of this?
See, there is now there is something called Asia-Africa Growth Corridor.
Right.
which is in a way counter to the Belt and Road Initiative with China.
Right.
Now, Asia-Africa Growth Corridor is led by India and Japan. So this is all world politics.
Yeah.
Then you have the rise of the Indo-Pacific, which has US, Japan, Australia, and India.
Right.
So there are all these groups trying to
Muscle in.
because Belt and Road Initiative, it's a development thing. So they are concerned about that also.
Yeah.
So, but we can't become a playground.
Do you think this is sort of intensified after the Sri Lankan government virtually sold the Hambantota port and the surrounding areas on a 99-year lease? So it's a virtual freehold.
Definitely.
To China. Do you think everybody woke up after that?
Definitely. We didn't have to do that.
Right.
See, from the major powers, of course, the rivalry is there, as you know.
Yeah.
So they are also concerned. We didn't have to do that. So they will want to say, okay, why? This is like previously the Soviet Union and the US battle. So why should we give areas?
But Mr. Wickremesinghe is on record of saying that they had to sell off Hambantota port because they couldn't afford the repayments.
Faraz, you know this better than I do.
Yeah.
What he has done with the payment. I think this is your speciality.
Yes.
You should explain, because what he has
Well,
done,
yes.
nothing.
Now, the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe, currently serving his 5th term as Prime Minister of this country. He's on record as saying that the Hambantota port was sold off, but a lease was granted, 99-year lease to the Chinese, because the Sri Lankan government couldn't afford the repayments. Well, that was 1.2 billion with a B dollars was the amount. They received that amount, the Sri Lanka Ports Authority received those amounts, but here's the catch. The 1,200 billion, 1.2 billion, was sent to the consolidated fund, meaning to the Treasury. Thereafter, the loan was not settled. The loan is still alive, meaning that the money, no, it didn't go to some politician's pocket, but it went into the pot in the Treasury and it has been spent. We are still servicing the loan. So how are we servicing the loan if we didn't have the money in the first place? And now we've used the money that we've received for some other purpose, and the loan is still very much alive. So no benefit to the people having sold that port on for 99 years. By the way, if you did the sums right, it works out at about 5 million rupees per day. That's all.
Yeah,
there you are. That was the story on that.
And also to bring into the international thing, I'll tell you now, Chinese, Hambantota has become a hub for the Chinese, right? And then now, how they are trying to make this. And then Indian the energy hub in Trincomalee.
Right.
And then US, the logistic hub in the same area, like what I said, the AXA, right? And then what this former foreign secretary told me last night was, Sri Lanka has already become an international playground, which does not augur well for Sri Lanka. This is what we have to tell our viewers. We can't let this happen. They are completely betraying. We don't have to say this. Respected associated editor of the Sunday Times, Iqbal Atas, had been explaining every weekend in the Sunday Times, giving enough and adequate information.
Is there money at the end of all this?
Definitely. So they must be paying if you come to an agreement. But we don't know what we are getting. But can our troops walk freely in the US?
Yes.
What do we get? No, we can't.
Yeah.
Even we have another issue. Even our peacekeepers can't go. They have been vetted. There are lots of difficult. And you know very well that even some of our military people can't go to the US or others for training. They say human rights.
Yeah.
What's happening here? Is it fair agreement? There has to be reciprocity.
The head of the FCID, who's just retired, Ravi Lankara, was refused a visa to Canada because of what happened in the war, or what they say happened.
And so many former generals, they can't go even for training. So what do we gain? So any agreement should be mutually beneficial.
What does... citizen Jayasekara feel about it?
We can't betray our country. This is our country. It's not owned by the politicians. Anything should be negotiated in the best interest of our country. So US is looking at their interest.
If these agreements were creating jobs and was creating infrastructure development, what would citizen Jayasekara say then?
But still, no agreement should betray the country.
Our sovereignty first.
Sovereignty first. It has to be, see, there is something, it's basic, reciprocity.
Yeah.
So each country has to benefit. So you have, I'm sorry to say, good, hardcore diplomats there, negotiating for their country, try to get the best for their country.
Yeah.
And we are just giving it away.
And amongst the messages that we've received already, this one, I think, takes a prime place. I'll read it out. It says here, it's better to be a bunch of sheep led by a lion than a bunch of lions led by a sheep. Would citizen Jayasekara, former diplomat, agree with that?
We have to agree, right? It takes...
That's what it is.
Yeah, definitely. There is no leadership. People can't say they don't know. I mean, I know of, sorry to say this, Faraz, I know of foreign ministers who send messages to diplomats they give. So where's our pride of place? We can be a small country. Let me quote the great Lakshman Kadaragama. He said, we are not a political power. We are not an economic power. But if we lose our self-respect, we have lost it all. We have been a non-aligned country. We have had people who we are founders of the non-aligned movement. Everything is been betrayed and given. I'm sorry to say, I want to say this openly. I mean, it's not a secret. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe has been called Don Juan Dharmapal. You know what the story of Don Juan, not in the playboy sense, but betraying sense. So we can't do that. I don't think they feel for the country as much as you and I do or our viewers do.
But why don't they feel? What this sort of Asperger's syndrome bit? Why don't they feel that? Why can't they feel the pain of the people?
You have to be rooted, you have to be earthy. I'm sorry to say, you may not like what I said. If you can't wear a sarong, you don't have a feeling for the country. You should be rooted. I mean, that's the feeling, because this is we have nowhere else to go. So we can't, so they might go overseas and stay, live. Because he's a member of the International Democratic Union, he hobnobs. They will go everywhere.
Right.
But not the ordinary people, not the masses.
And part of the masses are suffering from a severe drought.
Definitely.
A severe drought. And compounding matters is that the provincial council elections haven't been held, and, by and large, the people are absolutely being left out of the whole picture.
With that happening, this is what they are doing.
Whilst that's going on, they're surreptitiously selling off our sovereignty.
This is the greatest betrayal after the British. We had Portuguese, Dutch and the British. This is one of the greatest betrayal. We were discussing even after the ceasefire agreement was a betrayal. This is bigger. When you see US troops around, then they'll realize. They will have a law. I mean, there was an incident some time ago. Dr. Rohan Perra, who's our ambassador to the UN at present, I think he's just retired. He was the legal advisor for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. American Marine, there was an accident. How harsh he was from the embassy at that time. This is about 7-8 years ago. So they will push us through. But let me also take something about America. I'm sure you have experienced. If we stand up for our country, they respect us. They will push their way through. That's normal. You will want to get your point across. So if we do that, but our people are not doing that. No, this is also something where why isn't now the president is the defense minister? I think we have seen, he's on record saying that he will not allow this.
Now, why do you think, Bandula Jayasekara, why is Mike Pompeo coming to Sri Lanka?
He's not coming with a love letter. I think what he will do is, he will push
Is it to put the nail in the coffin, the final nail?
He will push for SOFA. What I have read and I've heard, that there's this GSP plus, which we have got. So he will say, okay, we'll give you this, we'll give you this. So please sign this.
What empowers the Prime Minister of this country to enter into these agreements without so much as a how do you do from Parliament?
So that's the question. So we are asking, why is all this happening in secrecy?
Yeah.
Even the defense...
Where is the transparency of the Yapalane government?
No, they both of them are fighting and they are just betraying us. So even the defense secretary said it should be put to the parliament.
Yes.
So that's how the security forces, most of these people, they feel it. But here, just 2 or 3 people are betraying. So this is where people should stand up. The religious leaders, everybody, academics, they should bring this up. You can't do this.
Right. Another question we'll take. Mr. Karyavasam should be able to explain about the deep state, as explained by redacted and crosstalk shows on the Russian RT channel. And they say that Donald Trump is controlled by the deep state. But honestly, this is a serious matter, isn't it?
Definitely. So, and here, like you question, you have these people who supported, then funded by the USA, their salaries are paid by the
but
US.
This is absolutely incredible. It's almost like a conflict of interest, kind of.
Definitely.
Because you've served the state and you've negotiated this agreement. You then take up a position funded by that other state, in this case by the agency called USAID, who now pay Mr. Karyavasam's salary to be a consultant to the Parliament of Sri Lanka.
Definitely. So this is...
Do we need consultants?
We don't need consultants, but you can't sell your country. That's the main thing. You can't do this because these people, he was a former foreign secretary. Let me also give his due. Once upon a time, he was a very good diplomat, excellent. But they change. But you can't do this. So that's what it was.
They changed or they succumbed?
Must be both.
A bit of both.
Both. So they are the ones who pressed. That's where the acts are. They pressured. Like I've said.
No, but I want to ask you another thing. You've just used the word pressured. That's what Karunasena Hettiarachchi says. Okay. Now, Lalit Veeratunga had to follow instructions from his boss, at the time, Mahinda Rajapaksa, and he signed something off. He got a 3-year jail sentence for that. Do you think these people should be charged?
I think so. They should be charged, but I must say this also. I really feel sorry for Lalit Veeratunga, but I wish he had the courage and wisdom to say no. But in 2011, he told me personally, Bandula, I'm the chief accounting officer. I'm sorry, one day I have to pay for this. He's a good man, but they should stand up.
Because if you don't stand up, ultimately you will pay the price.
Yeah, but let's also say that these people now, they're already paid by the USA. They can go to US or any place.
And they'll probably get asylum there.
They'll get good jobs. So in the past also you have had people like this. But here there is a minister, the former foreign minister, Mangala Samaraveera. Right? They are the ones who are pressured. And also they went to the extent, former Secretary of the President, Austin Fernando, and Karyavasam went to the extent of removing that diplomat who was assigned to the defense ministry, saying that she was delaying. She was looking at the interests of the country. So there are some good people, Faraz, you and I know. But this is really a danger.
Politically, it obviously won't get any more votes. It may lose some votes. So if it's not something to do with votes, what has it got to do with money?
Do these people care? Do these prime ministers and all these people care? Ministers, I'm sure they have bank accounts and they have most of these countries will accept them. Do you think they care? So finally it's you and I who will face this.
So what can the people do to stop SOFA?
People should rise up. People should rise up because we have had enough of these secret deals from 2015. Sorry to say that you have exposed all the There's no justice. Only committees are appointed. There is no, take the bond commission which you have been really pushing at. So people have to. So a retired colonel wrote to me yesterday and said, learn from the people of Hong Kong. Forget party politics. Calmly, without be non-violent, take to the streets. And that chief executive of Hong Kong had to withdraw that for us. So why can't we do that? We don't have to be subservient.
So sometimes it's worth protesting. Is it also worth people going to see their member of parliament and sort of inundating them with messages to say, look, stop it. You are a representative, go there and stop it.
They should not go to Lipton Circus. They should go to their houses.
Yes.
We have discussed this before.
Indeed.
To their houses, that's what they should do. Proper protest, which a non-violent protest. Hong Kong is the best example.
Or they'll be, you can catch them when they come out of funerals.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We have to do, because there's absolute impunity as we have exposed throughout.
Yeah.
This cannot go on. But I would still say this is the ultimate. And also I want to bring this. Now the Foreign Minister Marapana has given a letter to Washington. Go ahead with the talks. What we feel is it's one-sided. Bring it to the people. We don't need, like I said, we are not at war with anybody. We are at peace. Now the Easter attack, that can be handled separately.
Yeah.
We don't need any troops, anybody, not at this time. We can get technical support, we can work together, these are bilateral relationships, we can all work together. We need China, we need India, we need the United States. We need all these countries as a small country. We are not an economic powerhouse, we need. But that doesn't mean that we sell our country. That means you give one to China, one to America, another part to India. Where do we go? This is really serious thing they are making. It has already, we have become, like I quoted this Foreign Secretary, we are in great danger.
What is Mr. Jayasekara's opinion of the SLPP-SLFP budding alliance?
I mean, what are they doing? I'm not worried about the alliance. They have to speak for the country. They only want to come into power for us.
Like these laws?
Yeah, so why can't they speak up on this? See, after we started on this bond thing, they go to these people and they try to take credit.
Yeah.
These people have to speak up. They have to raise this in parliament. I don't think any of these people are worried about this. They are elected members of parliament, representatives. So they have to do is for us, stand up for the country to protect, because we are in great danger.
I want to read something out from our group director, Mr. Shavan Daniel, who said this. So I need a minute or two more. Look, it says here, this is what Shavan Daniel says. He says, we've gone from being a nation where our kings assisted in even protecting India's Pandyan kings by sending troops to India. That was Parakrama I, to be the pathetic state we are in today. It's all about leadership. At News First, we have a lion leading us in our chairman, Mr. Rajamahendran. That's the difference. And we will stand by the people and bring them back to the days of Parakrama.
And
what do you say? We are honestly led by a lion, aren't we?
yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what we are doing this program in the interest of the country.
Absolutely.
It's not in anybody's interest, but for the country.
Yeah.
But also, I must say this. A friend of mine said when Prime Minister was elected or appointed, that if he tries these old fox tactics like J.R. Java, then he will fail. A strong UNP friend said, I think he's falling. You cannot be that old fox. We need lions.
We need lions.
Not old foxes.
To hell with the foxes. Roll on the lions. Bandula Jayasekara, it's been marvellous talking to you this morning. Thank you very much for being on Newsline. And that's the way it was on Newsline this morning. Do take care. Have a great day. Be safe. And of course, God bless.
Pathikada. Bandula Jayasekara Samaka.